What's going on, everybody? A little bit of an update on the powder coating. So in this video, I want to show you a little bit of my experience so far, things I've learned, things I like, I don't like, and also we'll do a couple parts in the same video as well. So the first video that I put up on powder coating had a pretty good response. I know that my channel is kind of all over the place. I do some things with airboats, welding, powder coating, but that's it. If you're here for the powder coating, I want to give away some Columbia Coatings super durable wet black, super durable wet clear. And so if you are interested, make sure you subscribe, make sure you throw a comment, and at the end of, let's just make it July 4th. On July 4th, if you're subscribed, you have a comment down on this video alone. So they are unopened. I haven't used them. I do want to try them, but just wanted to figure out some sort of way to, give back to the channel. It's my first giveaway, so forgive me. I think what I will do is I'll research it a little bit, but I'll do kind of a random, pick a random person on this video. I think I'll have you email me like a number, and then I'll have you verify that in the comments. Obviously, there's a lot of people that try to take giveaways. I don't think this is a big deal. All right, so other than this one part that I've had an issue with, I'm pretty happy with. By the way, I didn't build this, so don't blame me on this, but this is a part off the airboat. Most all the parts came out exactly how I wanted it. Looks very nice, just the super matte black from Columbia Coatings. This stuff here. By the way, if you're new to powder coating, this is a pound, and I've probably used half a pound. Most of it ended up on the floor, but not even that, maybe a quarter of a pound to do all these parts with a couple of test parts as well. These are the parts that I'm going to do today. If you're not familiar, this is a magneto off an airboat. So one of the things that's important for this part is there's parts in here that cannot have any coating. So I've put some aluminum foil in there. I've got some mask over there. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to do a couple little nuts and bolts here for the first time. We'll try. All right, so on to actually how I did my setup for the first time. First off, the shop is a complete mess. I've got so much stuff going on, not enough time to do it. So problem number one is I just didn't have this set up properly. I tried to rush it. I was excited, but it all worked out. Just kind of created a mess. The way I did it, this is not the actual box that I used, but I had a box just a little bit bigger than this. I had a hole here and then one on the other side, and then shoved that pipe through there and then hung the parts on that rod. I used TIG rod to kind of create little hangers here. Just bent them up. And some of them I even use like a little swivel so that I can spin the part around. So once that was done, I used jumper cables to get from there to the grounding rod, which is underneath that red cap there. All right, so you know my setup there. Now to the system. First off, it took me a little bit to figure out how to get all this set up. Challenge number one was to get this fully sealed or seated into that. So really what you want to do is you kind of with one hand lift up this spring all the way up like so, and then you will shove the canister in there. What I found was best was to get the powder in the cup and put it all together and then hold the cup kind of upright. It was kind of a little bit of a dance, but then kind of shove it up in there. I kind of wish it had like a click or some sort of indicator of where it should stop. While we're on the cup, the first issue I had is nothing was coming out of the gun. No powder was coming out of the gun, and basically that cup was leaking. So yeah, nothing was coming out of the gun because so much air was leaking out of the cup that it just wasn't, I assume, not enough pressure to fluidize the material, whatever, get it out of the gun. So I don't really know, but this stuff, these parts seem like they're 3D printed or something. Not a big fan. This part was the only disappointment that I had in this whole system. If you look at their instructions, basically they're telling you here in the instructions that the hoppers supplied are basically cheap and it may leak. This would have been nice to know when I bought the system, but we're here now. What they do tell you to do to resolve the issue is to simply glue, glob glue around the hopper to keep it from leaking. I actually didn't see this part I learned from another video that that's what another YouTuber did to resolve the issue. So I got out the wife's hot glue gun and glued the bottom part. I don't think there's any reason really to ever take all this bottom part off, maybe to clean that up. I don't know. I'm assuming at some point I'm gonna have to spend more money to get a different hopper, but we're into it now. So I glued the bottom and that resolved the leakage out of the bottom. First off, when it leaks, it gets all over the floor, all over you, all over the floor. It was a mess. My little cheap setup here did not work very well when you have a leaking gun. Then, of course, I put it all together, was excited. I left this top O-ring out. And so then the second time it was leaking out of the top. Hopefully that will resolve the leaking issue. I don't think gluing any more will help because I won't be able to get powder in there. The other thing that I was a little confused about is I turned this on, I plugged it all in, and there's no lights, no nothing. You actually have to pull the trigger to see where the KV setting is. I mean, clearly there's an indicator here. You know, I'm assuming 0 to 100% of the range. I assume it wouldn't be that hard just to simply have this lit up. The other thing as well is the air pressure does not tell you where it's set until you actually pull the trigger. So recommendation is maybe before you put powder, get it all set it how you want it with the air pressure, with the KV, and I suggest that's going to be the best way to do it. So again, like the LED, it can be that hard to have it to where it shows your pressure before you pull the trigger. So other than that, the system was very, very cool. I liked it. And this is not a deal breaker to me. You know, again, the cup and the fluidizer, the hopper, disappointing. Just know that that's there. Know that you're going to have to glue it up, and it's going to look like hopefully better than that.
So I lied, there is actually a power on button, but the values don't go up. Here we go. See?
All right, took my mask off. So they're in there, 400 degrees. We'll let them come up to temperature and then we'll let them cook for 10 minutes at 400 degrees and they'll be done. I didn't really know, I need another rack for this. Actually, I need to take the bottom out, the middle section out, and be better for me. I mean, you can see even with this oven in the hangers, I got a limitation on how far it can hang down, and these are small parts. So I'll learn a little bit as I go. By the way, just a warning, I do have what I consider a fairly large shop. It's a 30 by 40. So a lot of airspace in here. However, the fumes coming out of this thing is not good necessarily. So if you got a smaller garage, just be prepared, open up windows, things like that. I've got a window in the back, fans running. Yeah, so just FYI. So just something to be aware of if you haven't powder coated before. All right, let's take a peek. I don't know if you'll be able to see the gun or not. All right, been 10 minutes. Let's see what we got. It's done. I didn't mention the environment. It's raining outside. We're in Florida. It's very humid here. So I've got a couple different filters. Let me turn the camera on. First off, I'll say that they are not enough. I need to work on them more. But I've got a Wilton filter here, water drain there, regulator. And then down here, just a simple, cheap Harbor Freight, I think $10 thing. So I will work on a manifold system for the air compressor coming up, just to get some of the water out, because it's just way too much water in the system. It's especially noticeable when you do the sandblasting. All right, so I had a little bit of an issue getting the part up to temperature. Let's see. My thermal tape came off as well. So I think I got it way too hot. Anyways, just pull it out. Oh, the nuts. Not okay. Yeah, never really light. So put it all together. Use the washer. Stick one side just for fun. Gonna wrap around pretty good. A little bit of roll light there, of course, no covers there, but. All right, before I leave you, there's two channels that I want to recommend. One is 710 Performance. I want to say 710 Performance, they've been doing this powder coating for about a year, as best I can tell. I think he indicates it in his videos, but go back through, watch all their videos, subscribe to them. You can learn a lot from them as you can see their skill set progress along the way, starting small, getting larger. And number two is Unknown Coatings. I learned about him through 710 Performance, but watching those two channels, you can really figure this stuff out. It's not that hard. Of course, there's other videos out there. You're probably aware of these two anyways. You probably watched them before my channel. But if you haven't, watch their videos. You can learn a lot from them. So yeah, thanks to them for their content. I learned a lot from them.